Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is Shawonda Swain, who is the Executive Director for Middlesex United Way. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you? Hey, thanks for coming down. Thanks for coming down. You're, like we said before, you're the newbie with me.
I am.
Welcome, and thanks for coming down. Thanks for some of your time today. So maybe if you can tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been Executive Director for the United Way.
Sure, I'm happy to be here. I am a resident of Middletown, Connecticut, but I am originally from Brooklyn, New York, and I have been the CEO for a year and a half now.
There you go.
And so I've been making my rounds, getting to know all of 15 towns that we service.
That's
and
right.
Making sure that everybody knows who we are and what we do and how we can support the community.
Now, I guess the first question I want to ask is, what is the mission statement for Middlesex United Way?
Well, a big piece of what we do and our mission is to cultivate partnerships and create leaders and bring resources together to ultimately elevate the whole community, working toward a goal of meeting the needs of our most vulnerable in the community. So if I had to sum it up, that is the big thing that we do across all the towns.
Okay, and as far as, and I know I've talked about this before during the show, let's talk about Alice.
Yes.
Who is she? Well,
who is she?
Well,
Alice, it can be anybody. It could be he or him.
He or she, right.
And it's Alice is asset limited, income constrained, employed.
Okay.
And those are people who are working individuals who can't make ends meet. And often people think of poverty as just below poverty, people who may be getting subsidies, maybe not working. But Alice is another subset that they may have 2, sometimes 3 jobs and still have to make decisions around how can I feed my family or pay a medical bill, or do we go to the doctor, or do we buy this medicine, or do we eat? And so all of those things are important, and the United Way really helps to focus on those issues in Middlesex County and try to garner support. And so if you look
I was going to say, we have a graphic behind us. Maybe we can talk about it?
Yes, so if you look at each town, we're able to pinpoint what the percentages of each town that really fall under Alice. And people are usually surprised when I tell them, if you think about Old Saybrook, 27% of Old Saybrook is Alice. So, you know, people don't realize that they may even be fitting into those categories. And so we fight to get resources for them. So whether that's income tax credit or, you know, making sure that they're eligible to get free tax support, we're constantly fighting to make that group recognized in the state and to look for additional resources for them, because usually they don't qualify for things like medical benefits or say SNAP. So we want to shed the light on that and make sure that we continue to fight for that group.
Absolutely, and by the looks of the numbers, it looks like some of the percentages are pretty very significant.
High. Exactly, and so there's a great need across our county to lift up this community in addition to lifting up those who are below poverty.
Okay.
It's not one or the other, it's actually both.
Really? Didn't know that. Now, as far as qualifying for Alice, what are some of the qualification levels?
Well, Alice is just anybody who are not in, if you don't meet the below poverty standards for whatever size family you are, and you're in that next level, you would qualify as an Alice candidate.
Okay.
So there are not a lot of services out there right now for that category. Usually they're edged out, but we're fighting every day to make sure that there can be another line for that group and that they can get benefits like, you know, heating and gas, you know, support.
Sure.
Like I said, SNAP benefits, but they are using the resources that we support, like food pantries often, because they're not meeting they have this gap in their funds.
Absolutely. And I also believe we might have some pictures that we want to bring up and we can talk about as well. So, Anne Marie, if you would.
So
And, okay.
these are just all the towns that we serve in Middlesex County.
Right.
Middlesex United Way only serves Middlesex County.
Right.
All of the resources that we get in go directly back into our communities, and that is the beauty of Middlesex United Way. Any resources that we garner from every town, we go right back into Middlesex County. It doesn't go to Hartford, it doesn't go to New Haven. Right here is where the need is, and we make sure that all those funds go back into these towns.
Okay. Next picture. Okay. Well, I believe we're going to take a look at a video right now, so maybe we can take a look at it, and then we'll talk about it coming back.
Sure.
So can you tell us what we're looking at in this photo?
Yes, so there we did a food drive, and we were able to participate in giving that food out for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
This was the groundbreaking for our Habitat for Humanity project in East Hampton.
Yeah.
Here, this is at Mercy High School. We were able to meet with the young ladies there.
Okay.
I think this is another day on the build at East Hampton. This was, we did a toy drive with the police department of Middletown.
Sure.
And so we were able to give those out, and this was me participating in a read-along with the kids in Middlefield.
Oh, nice.
And this was in Westbrook at one of the schools during a reading day, National Reading Day. So we're just out and about. My goal in my first year and really moving forward is to be very hands-on, to get out in the community, to be a part of the process of serving the community. It helps me understand the needs very clearly. It lets the community know that we're just not about an application process, but we're digging deep and making sure that we know the people that we serve.
Now tell me about what is the United Way, and how is Middlesex United Way unique in its mission?
Well, it's unique. Like I said, every United Way has a catchment area. And so we are focused, laser focused on Middlesex. And everything we do is about the betterment of Middlesex County. Okay. And looking at what are those needs. And we realize that those may be evolving. And so we're constantly in the communities determining that, making assessments with community groups to ensure that we're on the cutting edge and very clear on what we need to be focusing on.
Now, you currently serve all 15 towns that make up Middlesex County.
Yes.
Where have you been so far, and what types of things have you participated in?
Well, I've been in Westbrook, I've been in Osabrook, I've been in East Hampton, Middletown, Middlefield, Cromwell, Portland. Okay. I've been in Essex, Chester. And a lot of those activities have been me meeting with service groups like I've been with the chamber meetings, but I've also been at Rotaries to let them know their service group already, how can we support them. Okay. I've been at just community meetings. I've been part of the NAACP meetings. So really just spreading the word, but also hearing from them about what they need. East Hampton, I've been at a Rotary meeting out there. Middlefield, I've been at a meeting for the chamber, Middlefield, Durham. Yep. So I'm still working my way around. I haven't been at Deep River yet, but I'm coming soon. And East Haddam. So I have a few more to go, but it's important to me that not just me, but my team, we get out and about.
Have you gone to Clinton yet?
I have been to Clinton. Okay. Yeah, so I still have more work to do in Clinton, but I have been there.
Nice. Nice town.
Yes, and I shop a lot there.
It's actually my hometown.
Oh, okay. I love the Clinton outlet.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Too much.
A little bit more too much than we should all know. Now, how can the community help the United Way with its mission?
So what people may not know is that we succeed when the community supports us. Okay. So how they can help is, number one, volunteer your time. You can go to our website and click on the link to volunteer. And be on our mailing list, and we send you information about when we need help. Donate. You can go to our website and click on Donate Now and give individually. If you work in a municipality or you work in a business, you can do a employee campaign, and we'll come out and set up the campaign for you and talk to all of the employees about how to give, and it can either be a one-time payment or it could also be through their paycheck over a year.
Nice.
So those are the great ways that you can support us. Of course, attend any events that we're throwing because those are helping to raise funds as well.
Absolutely.
And then get the word out to those that may be in need. That,
Exactly.
you know, between 211 or call or going to our website, there are loads of ways that we can be supportive to a family that might be in need, or even a single person.
Now let's talk about 211 and the United Way connection. How's that work?
Right. So people may not know that, particularly in Connecticut, 211 is solely funded by the United Ways in Connecticut. And so a lot.
I didn't know that.
Right. So a lot of our resources go to that. We believe wholeheartedly in getting resources out. And so it is the first step, if you need something, to getting that addressed. So when you call 211 and you tell them what your need is, then they will give you the information you need. So whether it's housing, homelessness, but this talks a little bit about the call. So you may not know, but 12,644 calls between March for the year, between March 22 and March 23.
Okay.
And then you see all of where they come from, and most of them are for either mental health or food insecurities.
Okay.
But Middletown, 7,713 calls.
Wow.
Westbrook, 720 calls. East Hampton, 381 calls. So there's not a town that isn't represented that don't have people who are needing our support. 988 is also another number that is a spin-off of 211.
Okay.
And that really is for suicide prevention. And we just felt that there was so much need there that it need to be a separate helpline.
Absolutely.
But that is funded by United Ways, and so when you give to United Way, you can be sure that you are helping to support this line.
Absolutely, and it basically has helped United Way all over the state, not just...
Exactly, and that doesn't apply to every state, but in Connecticut, the United Way solely fund 211.
Absolutely, wow, that's... Some of those numbers are...
Staggering, right?
Absolutely.
It's really, when you think about you know, all the calls that it could be, whether it's violence against women, or someone needed to get out of their housing right away, or being evicted, or not having any food or heat. So there are many reasons that you might call that line. In addition to VITA, which is also the tax preparation service for low income that is provided free. And it's volunteers that join, and they give those services for free, and that also goes through 211.
Would you mind sticking around for another segment?
I'd be happy to.
All right, we'll be right back.
My kids put skis on as they were learning to walk. I want my kids to be able to have those moments with their kids. Being a scientist, I'm worried about climate change in so many different ways for my kids. From the second you have a child, you want to do everything to protect them. I think our action on climate change is no different. It's just an extension of being a mom.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look! Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Shawonda Swain, who is the Executive Director for Middlesex United Way. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for sticking around. So we were talking about, in the first segment, we talked about the United Way, and we talked about 211 and the helpline. I was wondering, maybe we can talk about some of the grants the United Way currently funds.
Okay. So we currently have about 33 agencies that we're supporting now.
Sure. Yep.
Everything from Shoreline Soup Kitchen to Amazing Grace in Middletown, which is also a soup kitchen. We have education programs. We partner
Here we
with,
go.
right, so Clinton Westbrook, we served 892,530 meals.
Wow.
You know, in a year's time, and 1.1 million pounds of food during the 2021 and 2022 grant cycle. And so this is all not totally funded by us, but we're a big part of their funding to make sure that these kinds of things happen. And we have several core areas that we focus on, or impact areas, as you would say.
Sure.
And so that is education, it is wellness, it is, there you have it right there,
Yeah,
housing, financial stability, racial equity and inclusion, and as I mentioned, education. So all of our funded partners fall in one of those categories. And so they would only be selected if they fall into one of our impact areas. And those impact areas were developed based on needs assessment from the communities. That was done a few years ago. So it's never by happenstance. It's always about assessment. Are these still valid? Do we still need to be focusing in these areas? And then we put out a open call annually. And we just had one recently for agencies to apply for a grant for the year.
Wow.
And then we have several volunteers that review those applications, do the interviews, and then the selection is made. And so, you know, this year we had about almost 30 applicants, over $600,000 worth of requests. Wow. We don't know if we're going to be able to meet that need. We can only do that if we're getting support from, you know, all of the places I mentioned, whether it's an individual or it's a company or it's a sponsorship or a grant. This is how we raise the money to give to those communities. So
absolutely,
we'd love to be able to fund each and every one of them at the exact amount that they ask for, but it all is based on how much we're able to raise year to year.
Now tell me, what is ALICE and what does the United Way do to help its population?
So ALICE means it's not a her.
It's an everybody.
It's an everybody.
Okay.
And it stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed.
Okay.
So these are people who work every day, many times 2 and 3 jobs, but they still have a very hard time making ends meet, but they don't qualify for subsidies like SNAP or Medicaid. And so it leaves them in a hole where they're making decisions about can they eat maybe versus go to the doctor. So, you know, we shed a light on the fact that this is a very large population, and that we ask government to consider having subsidies for.
Okay.
So whether that's income tax credit so that they can get more money back in their pockets, or looking at guidelines for subsidies, increasing, you know, raising the guideline on subsidies like SNAP so that they could become eligible and maybe not have to work 2 or 3 jobs to support their family. So as you can see from this slide, you'll see every one of our towns have people who qualify as ALICE. Okay. So even some town like Osaybrook, where people may think, oh, it's on the water, you know, maybe it's well off, 27% of the population are in the ALICE category and are in need and are working multiple jobs just to make ends meet. And any one thing can put them in a spiral, you know, that really can mean the difference between housing or food or a variety of things for their family.
Now
So Middlesex United Way, you know, raises not only money to support services, but we also raise awareness and advocacy. So whether that be going, in June, I'll be going to Washington for Advocacy Day to talk just about these kinds of things and let our local politicians know that we want them to be rooting for and fighting for Alice population in our community. So this is something that Middlesex United Way does.
Oh, absolutely. Now, as far as how is the Middlesex United Way connected with 211 with the 211 hotline and the 988 hotline as well?
Yeah, so many people may not know that 211, particularly in Connecticut, is solely funded by all of the United Ways in Connecticut.
Okay.
And so we work hard to raise our dollars to be able to give to 211
Okay.
because it is a lifeline for those who are seeking every kind of need.
Right.
So everything, it used to include people who were thinking about committing suicide, but it was such a great need for that 988 was created solely for that purpose. But 211 is where you will call to look for housing, to look for potential subsidies, to find emergency food.
Yep.
So it is that funnel that gives you all the information and all the connections and start the process for you if you are in need of services.
Now, as far as the nonprofits need support in both terms of manpower and money, what can the community help MUW within 2023?
Well, first and foremost, we always need the power of the hands, right?
Exactly.
And so volunteering, going to our website and go to volunteer and sign up, and you'll be notified when there are opportunities to volunteer. So whether that be a Habitat for Humanity build, a paint or gardening project, reading to a young person, there's a variety of ways you can give back through your skills and abilities. And the other piece is to donate.
Right.
Go to our website and donate as an individual. Get your, if you work for a company, get the company involved in a campaign. You can participate in special events that come up, buy tickets, get involved in that way. Every dollar stays in Middlesex County. We're very proud of that. All resources stay within our county to support the needs of the constituents of this community.
Now, I hear you guys are involved with Birdies for Charity.
Yes, we are.
Let's talk about it.
So, and I don't know much about golfing.
That's okay.
But it's a big, Travelers has a giant tournament every year here in Middlesex
Right.
County.
Yeah.
And you are able as a nonprofit to apply to be a part of it. And people can go there and donate. And it will be matched by 15% from Webster Bank. So it's a way to stretch the dollar that you may give us. So, every dollar will count, and they will match up to 15%.
Wow.
So if you go to our website again and you click on the link or the QRL code, you are able to give us that way. And so that will go on through the end of June,
Okay.
Up until the tournament begins.
Right.
And then after it's over, they'll give us the check for however much was raised. So we're really excited about that. Last year we raised about $5,000.
Wow.
We're hoping to get that to 10 this year.
Wow, very nice. Now, what types of information can people find on your website?
Everything from who we are, getting to know the staff,
Okay.
What our mission is, what our impact areas are, how they can volunteer their time, how they can donate to our causes, and any information that they may need personally about assistance they may need.
Now, what are some future goals you have for the organization?
Well, part of it is to raise $1.2 million.
Okay.
And so this year is 1.1, and we're about 300,000 from our goal. So
Wow.
give. We're really close, and so we're asking you to give. And so that's a goal of ours, but it's also to strengthen our presence in the community, to be out and about and engaged in things that are already happening. Like we will be participating in the Middletown Pride Parade. We have participated in East Hampton's Halloween parade for the kids,
Yep.
and we also did their turkey plunge. So if you need help in your community and you need volunteers, we are also the place to call to get those volunteers, even if some of them may be our staff as well. So I'm very hands-on. I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club and worked for them for 30 years.
Okay.
And so I believe in getting out and being engaged with the community as much as possible, and I'm looking forward to doing that.
Now, let's talk about the two affinity groups, the Women
United
and the
Emerging Leaders.
the Emerging Leaders Society.
Yes. So Women United and Emerging Leaders Society are two groups that basically help support United Way.
Okay.
Women United are women who decided they want to come together and they want to raise funds to help particularly women and children issues. And so they raise money, and there are small grants given around those particular issues. And we have a great group, but the group is still open. So if you're interested in joining, again, you can go to our website and click on the link for Women United. Emerging leaders are young leaders.
Okay.
We're always looking for fresh perspectives and up-and-coming leadership of our communities. That's how we thrive, right? You bring in young people and you get them engaged. And so that engagement is volunteering their time,
Sure.
but it also can be help to raising dollars. Like they usually raise the money and buy toys for our gifts in Christmas time that we give out to the schools. So it's a big opportunity if you are, I would say, between the ages of 21 and 40, you can sign up and be a part of that group and help us give back to the community.
Now, are there any upcoming events you want to talk about?
Yes, we have a couple of upcoming events. I'm hoping that they'll put them on the screen. Women United has a event coming up. I think it's a game night that's coming up soon.
Okay.
And again, you could go to our website and click on events, and all of the events that we have coming up will come there, and you can get more information. In many cases, you'll be able to purchase tickets if there's a ticket purchase there. So all the information is there on our website.
Cool. Shawonda Swain from the United Way, thanks for some time, and hopefully we'll have you on again soon.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. On behalf of Shawonda Swain, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks, good night, and we'll see you next time.